happy week to everyone. It's here. Our second eclipse in our little eclipse season that we're having. As you all know, we had our first eclipse. It was a lunar, let's see, what I have. It was on March 25th, and we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. And we are getting ready to have the follow-up eclipse, which is the new moon solar eclipse in Aries on Monday, April 8th. So this is the follow-up to the eclipse that we had on March 25th. Just briefly about these eclipses and the energies and all of that. Now, the first eclipse that we had in March, that's kind of more of a one and done eclipse. Those lunar eclipses, full moon lunar eclipses, those are events. They happen usually on the date, or we can ping it one end to the other. It happens, it's done, and we live with it and we move on with our lives. But this particular new moon solar eclipse in Aries, this is not a one and done. No, it's not. It's actually it's a very powerful. It's going to usher in major change for most of us. Some kind of change is going to ping for us depending on where this falls in our chart. So this will probably initiate a story in our life, or a change of some sort, or a healing that will start now, but will continue maybe all the way up until the full moon in Aries that we have in October. So this is like a 6-month event, not to say that these ratcheted up energies that we have right now are going to continue to that point. No, they will not. These energies that we're feeling right now that are really kind of working our last nerves, they're going to dissipate, absolutely. But this eclipse is going to usher in something for us, probably some kind of breakthrough, some kind of personal healing right now. If we've had an estrangement with a loved one, this is a time that we can build that bridge and do some healing. If you're in therapy, a breakthrough is possible around this time. Patterns of behavior, anything that is not aligned with your future growth of who you're supposed to be for your greater good, can be wiped away during this time. And that's because we have a lot going on in Aries right now. We have not only the sun, but we have Chiron, which is the wounded warrior, wounded healer. So it's healing things right now. This is healing energy. And when you put that together with Mercury retrograde, which is moving backwards, it's things from the past we can heal. We could be getting some second chances with some situations, things that we never thought that we would get a second chance. But things probably are going to be moving fast and furious. If you have not had something start to happen already in your life, get ready for it. It probably is going to start on Monday for you. More than likely with this eclipse, we have to say goodbye to something. We're going to have to leave something behind. It may be painful, but ultimately it's for our greater good, and will usher in healing and all good things. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what humans are supposed to do. And yes, of course, this energy is exhausting. And yes, it kind of reminds me of that person who's running the marathon. They're a half a mile away from the finish line, and then they're complaining about being tired. Of course you're tired. Of course we're tired. Mercury is retrograde and we are in eclipse season. We're tired, but that doesn't mean that things are not wonderful. We have to, one little tip is that we cannot allow fear to get in the way of the growth. We cannot be overcome with the fear or despair. For those people who are fear-minded and fear-based, you might not get what you need to get out of this eclipse. But if you are loving and you are facing your fears and you're moving forward bravely, then you will probably be able to face all the wonderful gifts that this eclipse will bring. And it will. It's almost as if we have like a year or two's worth of growth crammed into one little month here in April. And yes, I know it's exhausting. I hear you, I feel you. But like I said, this is not a one and done eclipse. This is an eclipse that's starting something that's going to progress through our lives right now. So That's something that's really important to keep in mind. Also, some other things like we have Chiron, we have Mercury retrograde, we have the Sun, we have Venus. Mars is getting ready to move into Aries, but it's not quite there yet. It's on the cusp of Pisces, Aries. But we have the North Node slash eclipse in Arch in Aries as well. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Wherever the North Node is the eclipse, that's wherever the North Node is, that's where the solar eclipse is. So when people say we have the North Node and we have the eclipse, no, we have the North Node is the eclipse. So just to kind of clarify that a little bit, because this entire year, the North Node is in Aries. That's our destiny. This eclipse is about our destiny. And if we face our fears, if we keep our energy high, if we focus on the love, if we focus on the big picture here, you can really step into your brand new fabulous future. And I really hope that for all of you. So that's my big sermon. Okay, sermon's over. All right, let's talk about the rest of the week, because that's not the only thing happening this week. On April 10th and 11th, we have a couple really nice things. First of all, we have a waxing moon in Taurus, which means it's a great day for finances, buying things, and you're going to say, hey, how can we buy things and stuff? Isn't it Mercury retrograde? Well, if you found that something broke down and you need to buy something, the 10th and the 11th are the two exceptions to the rule. As long as you're careful, save your receipts, or make sure someone looks at that contract before you sign it. But with the waxing moon in Taurus on the 10th and with the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde on the 11th, this gives us a window of time to start something with communication and contracts and cars and vehicles and appliances and all of that stuff. You just have to just exercise caution, of course, during that time period. Sun conjunct Mercury is good for purchasing things, but at the same time, there may be some confusion. Don't bulldoze. This is Aries energy. You may be feeling this Aries energy, especially. So instead of like going in and bulldozing through a situation on that day, sit back and kind of channel your inner Libra energy and just like let things unfold. Ask questions. Listen to what people are telling you. Listen more than you talk on that day. That's my big advice. And then on April 11th and 12th, we have the moon is going to transit through Gemini. And because it is Mercury retrograde season, and because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, we're going to feel very creative, but we're probably going to feel a little bit like that hamster on a wheel in our gut, just a little nervous. So once again, good things to keep in mind when the moon is in Gemini is to take those Epsom salt baths, put a little bit of lavender on your little pulse points, breathe, meditate, all that good stuff. On Wednesday, we do have a Mars-Saturn conjunction in Pisces. And whenever we have Mars, we want action. Whenever we have Saturn, we have caution. And when they're conjunct, it's sort of a move, no. So I'd err with Saturn on this one, especially during the Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. But yeah, it's going to be sort of a clashy day. I would just be really kind of cautious on Wednesday. Definitely exercise some caution. But like I said, the eclipse season, eclipse energy on Monday is going to start to dissipate. We're still going to feel it towards the end of the week. So we're going to have a little bit of high energy. So just practice grace, be forgiving, try not to pull any plugs. That's one of the big rules of having an eclipse is, if someone's really getting on your nerves, take a beat. Let's give it a week before you really have that confrontation. I would never have a confrontation during eclipse season, because a week from that day, you probably are going to regret your words. So it's probably a good idea to give it a little bit of time before you issue no ultimatums on an eclipse. Okay. All right. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. If you have any questions, send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Bye.